So, here we go again. But this time I'm predicting a very short episode because, well, here down. So yeah, I only have like a page of notes, which is probably going to be true for like the next like 2 episodes, where at most I'll have a couple of episodes. And the only reason I anticipated I had anything to really talk about with this episode was because it was the episode with the visions and that. Whew. So here we go. Oh, I guess I forgot to write down that. Give me one moment. This will not take me long. And yeah, I have decided on that. Sadly enough, I think the dub is just going to be left in the dust at this point, because this is another point to the sub. But I guess we'll see how that fares with the next couple of episodes, because yeah, it's basically all going to boil down to how much I care about a given episode, and whether or not I think the dub actually characterizes the characters better, or cuts out superfluous bullcrap or whatever, right? Which won't happen often, I acknowledge. But at the same time, that's the whole point of doing this whole preference point thing, was to see how, to get actual hard data about the differences, about whether or not I think the sub or the dub is better. Because again, like I've said countless times in freaking season 1, the dub did have its highlights. And the problem is that half of the time nobody fucking acknowledges that, because they're too busy focusing on shit like uh like the different, like, for example, effectively they take the mentality of, they've changed it, now it's crap. Or at least that is my perceived reason for that. And if it's not incredibly obvious from my tone, I don't agree with that in any sense of the word. Now, in the interest of fairness, some people do think that 4Kids' stuff is worse, and for legitimate reasons. I'm not saying there aren't legitimate reasons to hate on the dub. I'm just saying the fact of the matter is that I feel like some people don't really critically analyze these certain things. Like, for example, the Death Impersonator. What was the point of making it a dude who just impersonates people? Yes, that one still pisses me off. Now, okay, I know that was them just using their imaginary shadow realm, but you could have just said, ghoul from hell or whatever, right? Shadow realm hell, it would have been the same fucking thing. But no, 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 we can't do that. We have to make it some impersonator, because, yeah, it makes total sense that somebody could perfectly mimic the voice of a person. Yugi did not fight Superman with precise muscle control. Piss off. No, okay, I get it. There's ways to hand wave that away, but they don't even attempt it, like, at all. And that's my thing. If you're going to do something, have a point to it. You know. I mean, granted, there wasn't as much of a point in the dubs version, but at the same time, yeah. Anyway, so this is the episode where we're introduced to a Shizu Ishtar, and yeah, one of, like, I think 2 characters that the fan base has paired Kaiba with over the years, and it's like, what? Now, okay. In all seriousness, though, I do like the idea that Ishizu First of all, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Ishizu is better in the sub. In fact, Ishizu is one of the main reasons that in Kaiba being less weird. I don't know how to describe it, but there's just something about how Kaiba reacts to the visions that just makes more sense to me in the sub, right? His reactions in the dub are just, this is all bullshit, blah 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 blah, right? It's not egregious yet. Like there's an episode that I'm thinking of that if it is as I remember, then yeah. Mm, but at the same time, I feel as though, how do I put this? Sorry, a bit tired. Forgive me. At the same time, I feel like we're starting to see the seams, right? Like he still has some of his antagonistic qualities. Like basically, this in season one is where the dub got their their asshole Kaiba version from. And some people are just like, they ruined it. I think the problem goes deeper than that. I honestly think the problem isn't so much they ruined Kaiba, so much as they didn't. Well, okay, they did ruin Kaiba, but the way they ruined it was just they didn't allow Kaiba to develop, to have any character development, which some people could say for the entire cast. But I kind of disagree, as we've already seen character development from characters like Mai, for example, right? The problem is that they keep in the dub they keep hitting the magic reset button with him, and that's the problem, right? They just don't allow. The problem is they double, triple, and quadruple down on the jackass Kaiba mentality, which Kazuki Takahashi kept railroading Kaiba into. Every time Kaiba would get some character development where he would be softening, Kazuki Takahashi would just turn around and basically make him more of a dick. Prime example, him yelling at Yugi in yelling at, well, at that point, at Tem in season 4. I'm sorry, I don't give a damn. That is still out of character, even though the wording of it is much better in the sub. And yes, I have seen that scene in the sub. As I've mentioned a billion times, I haven't watched the series front to back. I have seen clips, I have seen snippets, I have seen individual scenes, right? There's a reason why I talk about Kaiba transcending common sense, hence in it going to be awesome, right? In fact, and me predicting that that's probably going to save that particular multi-parter, Deja Duel, from being a rant view, right? Can't say the same about my Freaky Valentine, but that's only because I fucking hate the cult angle they take there, but let's not get into that because it's like 5:30 in the morning and I don't want to be yelling, especially not at 5:30 in the morning. God damn it, no. But at the same time, I am able to temper myself because I'm just kind of leading from point A to point B. So it makes sense. So Ishizu in the dub talks about destiny, which is just I, eh, we can talk more about the whole Destiny angle later because the dub is going to hammer the Destiny button hard. Because what the dub will turn the battle for the Egyptian God cards into is basically a fight to save the world. And it's all going to boil down to the problems with Merrick. And even though it technically is saving the world, kind of, it's less about saving the world and more about stopping a homicidal maniac from murdering people, right? In other words, they're trying to claim that it's Darkseid attacking when it's just the Joker attacking. Not to diminish the impact of the Joker, it's just the conflict is a little more personal than is being given credit for, you know? Yeah. Anyways, so then also, yeah, they also mention a couple of interesting things in the sub. Call Elna is actually mentioned as where Ishizu is from. uh, um, yeah, I did not actually realize that, which means Call Elna was actually even more important to the overall mythos than I was actually alluding to. I mean, I said that that Call Elna wasn't going to be super important going forward, but now I still stand behind that statement. It's not going to be super important. It's just going to be a little more important than I was giving it credit for, because that's also where the jackass who creates the malice that exists in Merrick came from. Anyways, also Ishizu's call is better because because they try to pull this whole "I know you're watching" crap with her in the dub, which, I mean, it's true because of the Millennium Necklace, which we'll get into way later when Blue Eye saves Kaiba's ass. The second time, if I'm not mistaken. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, but what about the "my draw was too good" scene? No, that was Blue Eyes saving Anzu's. That was Blue Eyes saving Teia's ass. Yeah, yeah. Anyways, we actually get a specific Egyptian dynasty mentioned in this episode. Ode for Tem, the 18th dynasty specifically. Now, admittedly, I don't really know my history all that well, but hmm, you know, I guess I could look that up. Give me a moment. Let me look this up. Let's Google it, shall we? So it was the dynasty was around. It goes back to about 1292 BC. So yeah, roughly 3,000 years. Thank you, Google. So yeah, again, it fits. It fits more with the 3,000 year mentality rather than the 5,000. So yeah, the dub fucked up there. Especially considering the answer was right there if they bothered to do any research. Anyways, so, and also Ishizu kind of slants things when she talks to Kaiba. What I mean by this is in the dub she kind of slants it to paint Pegasus as more of someone who just didn't want to release the power of the Egyptian god cards, instead of understanding that the god cards are dangerous, because apparently they are rumored to have been, excuse me, they're rumored to be able to literally kill opponents that have them used against them. Yeah, see, I think this is where the dub got its frickin' "the god cards can be used to either save or destroy the world" thing, because that's kind of if you read it a certain way, that's kind of what the setup is of this, if you think about it. Which is just, hmm, yeah. Anyways, so I've already talked about how Kaiba's reluctance is here really the entire point. But I mentioned the god cards, so I suppose I should mention them now. So the Egyptian god cards. So this is where Crunchyroll's subtitles really start to show their idiocy, because I've mentioned before that the Crunchyroll subtitles, uh, they go by the TCG names, right? So black magician is dark magician, and there have been plenty of other examples. It is the most egregious with the god cards. Now, I'm not going to talk about the one they changed, the one big change they made, which was to, um, which was, of course, uh, Osiris the Heaven Dragon being renamed to Slifer the Sky Dragon. Now, I'm not. If you know why that's so egregious and why so many people are angered by that, then you know. For our purposes, I'm not going to talk about that until we get to the three-parter Mind Control, which I believe is going to be in like 5 or 6 videos. I did not look it up, but I can do so on my phone because doing so on my TV will take way too fucking long. So if we go over here, let's see. So for our intents and purposes, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it'll be the 8th video from now. So in about 2 months, from your perspective, that's when I will finally talk about the biggest crime 4Kids ever did with this season, and really the show as a whole. So 8 more episodes before we can really talk about that. Now, obviously, I'm going to try and not use the name Slifer the Sky Dragon too much, out of respect for the people who are angry with that name. And it's going to be kind of easy because the god cards aren't going to really be mentioned too much, and usually within the context for the purposes of my video, I can just say the god cards because it's usually talked about in context with the other god cards, right? So there's that. Just wanted to comment on that. Oh yeah, this is also where they talk about how how Atem's name has been stricken from history. I am still not calling him Nameless Pharoh because, yeah, no. Okay? Anyways, I'm just gonna call him Atem, and like I said, I'm not gonna explain it, although when I explain the problems with Slifer the Sky Dragon, you might be able to figure it out, so be wary of that. Anyways. So then Ishizu talks about the rare hunters, aka the ghouls, and talks about how she wants Kaiba to draft a tournament to get the Egyptian god cards to go ahead and use the Egyptian obelisk the tormentor to basically gather the other god cards so that the ghouls can't use them to effectively take over the entire planet, which they could even in the sub. It's just that's not really their goal. That's just because their overall motive is just a little more focused, right? It is still about saving the world. It's just not. It's just not that the entirety of this plot is wholly about saving the world. Sense make? So and also this is also where Kaiba gets the visions. I don't really have anything to really say about the visions. Visions. This is not the. Actually, what's funny is I don't think this is the first, and I don't think this is the last time we're going to be seen. No, this is the first time. Specifically, the Pre-Seto versus Pharoh Tem uh, flashback, which is going to be retconned to hell because one, the location is going to be different. The actual Dawn of the Duel location is going to be different. Two, the outcome is going to be blatantly clear. And three, yeah, Egypt is not quite in as much ruin in Dawn of the Duel Dawn of the Duel version as it is in the flashbacks. Now, granted, you can say that that's because it's a different interpretation because it's a world crafted by memories rather than being actual no really time travel, but that's something to talk about way later when we get to season 5. Well, when we get 14 episodes into 14 or 15 episodes into season 5 because Grand Championship exists. anyways let's see. So then there's also the point where Kaiba actually believes, or at least knows, of how dangerous the god cards are. I actually like that. I actually really do. In the dub, Ishizu says that before this tournament is done, you will face your past. Which is funny, which is a funny statement considering, yes, he will. But not in the way she's thinking, because she isn't predicting the virtual world arc, because the virtual world arc is filler. Yeah. Anyways, by the way, if I do ever do a Yu-Gi-Oh rewrite, which unfortunately will be on my own, but I probably will anyway, yeah, she will actually be predicting the virtual world arc, because the virtual world arc is going to be a thing. Because of course it is. Anyways. So Kaiba is basically saying, yeah, I'm going to use Obelisk for my own power because and just fine, I will take on the ghouls, but I have a condition. Don't ever talk to me about occult shit ever again. I have no interest in the past. I look towards the future. See, the funny thing is that is Kaiba's mindset in the sub, and it's actually a very key distinction from in the dub, because in the dub he's basically, I don't believe in magic, the past is bull, blah 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 blah. It's like this. It's more of having a hate boner rather than just a belief that one should leave the past in the past, and that is really what Ishizu is supposed to, what Kaiba's whole shtick is supposed to be. It's not that he doesn't believe in magic. That's never been the issue. The issue has always been he prefers to look to the future rather than the past, right? If you gave him an armored suit, for example, take that away, and what do you still have? Genius, genius, billionaire, or technophile with a dragon fetish, right? Props if you get the reference. But anyways, my point in bringing all of this up is that this is the start of Kaiba kind of being all over the place, because Kaiba's dream was to start crafting theme parks, and then Nishizu kind of interrupted that. Now it's not expressly stated, but I mean, he goes right to that the second the spoilers. He does that the second the tournament is over, so shrug, I guess. Anyways, that's all I got. This was another short one, and even though I've been talking for 23 minutes, admittedly there is a decent chunk of stuff to unpack here. But that's the thing. This is a dense episode, and that's a good thing, because dense episodes give me some room to talk about. Next time we deal with an asshole named Johnny Steps. At least I can put the Yu-Gi-Oh abridged clip in the end, in the end, at the end of that video. God damn it. Anyways, I'm gonna chop this off. I hope you've enjoyed my thoughts, and I will see you guys next time. Blue Wolf Fox, the Lore Walker, signing out. Have a good one. Duel stand by.